Life and love go on, let the music play. This is a quote by Johnny Cash, a genre-defying rebel whose storytelling and fearless spirit reshaped American music. There's been a time in everyone's life when the silence of the outside world becomes a little bit too much and we immerse ourselves in music. Whether you put your headphones in to listen to your favorite artist's new album, your dad blaring 80s rock on the car ride to school, or the awkward elevator music that plays when you're patiently waiting to reach your floor to start your well-awaited vacation. Music is everywhere, music is everything. My old Fisher stereo console wasn't just a machine to me, it was my companion, filling the quiet corners of my late teens and early 20s up with the soundtracks that made everything feel alive. It was the heartbeat of my room, turning ordinary days into lasting memories one album at a time. First, I will tell you how the stereo came to be in my life. Second, I will tell you the best moment I had with my stereo and what it symbolized to me. Finally, I will explain the importance of my stereo and the importance of music. The story of the stereo began like all good stories began. I was directly disobeying my parents. Walking around garage sales, I'm like a kid in the candy shop. I want everything no matter the price. I found my treasure walking around the Shepherd Maple Syrup Festival, and my parents gave me a $50 spending limit. They advised me not to spend all my money on one thing. When I came across the stereo, however, I knew it had to be mine. $110 for an antique Fisher stereo in mint condition. It's a steal. Two problems arose. One, it was over my price limit. Two, it was so big you would need a truck to take it home. Two conclusions came to my mind. I needed to get the price down, and I need my dad's truck. After 20 minutes of bartering with the precious old lady, she gave me my stereo for $40. One problem solved. I then had to call my dad and let him know that he needed to come get me and my new find. Needless to say, he wasn't happy, but I got home that day with the new stereo and $10 to spare. Now that I told you about how the stereo came to be in my life, I want to talk about the best moment I had with my stereo. A lot of people may say your early 20s are the best times of your life. While that may be true, sometimes it comes with a lot of hardships. I was 21, arguably the age where you start to have the most fun and do all the things you've been wanting to do for a while. To me, it was just another year. During this time of my life, I was in a transition that felt incredibly lonely. My high school boyfriend and I broke up, a lot of my friends were in college and I wasn't, and my relationship with my family was pretty rocky. I was left alone with my own thoughts most days. I worked at a chain restaurant during this time. After coming home from a long shift and not making any money, I felt so defeated. Is this all there is to life? I was sat in my living room, my head in my hands, and the negative thoughts just kept coming. They were so loud that I needed to do something before it all got too much. I looked over at my stereo in the corner of the room. It looked lonely too. I neglected my stereo for months and I felt bad. My once prized possession was just taking up space and collecting dust. I walked over to the stereo and went through my album collection. After not using it for months, I almost forgot what I had. I picked out a Jim Croce album and started to play. Listening to the album again after all that time, it felt like I found an old part of myself I didn't know was missing. The room felt cold and dark before I hit play, but just as the first note started to play, it was like colors seeped back into the air. Each track brought back memories and feelings I missed so much. The loneliness I was carrying quieted down and it was replaced by emotions I haven't felt in a while. A little more whole and a lot more hopeful. Now that I told you about my favorite memory with my stereo, I want to explain the importance of my stereo and the importance of music. Like I said earlier, music is everywhere and it truly is everything. There have been many nights where I felt overwhelmed with life and the only thing that has helped me is turning on my music. Unlike streaming your music through an app, the ritual of putting a record is almost unworldly. Not only is my music therapeutic, but it's a great conversation piece. I love talking about my stereo and I love when people ask about it. When my friends and family come over, they know that stereo is going to be on and playing. It's a part of me. Music brings people together. It heals, unites, and speaks when you can't find the words to say. First, I told you about how the stereo came to be in my life. I then explained the best moment I had with my stereo and what it symbolized to me. Finally, I explained the importance of my stereo and the importance of music. My old Fisher stereo console wasn't just a machine to me, it was my companion, filling the quiet corners of my late teens and early 20s up with the soundtracks that made everything feel alive. It was the heartbeat in my room, turning ordinary days into lasting memories, one album at a time. The 4 building blocks of the universe are fire, water, gravel, and vinyl. Quote from Dave